All right, everyone, class is about to start. Take your seats. Welcome to UGC 101, the podcast about all things user-generated content.
Welcome back. We are in episode 2 of the UGC 101 podcast. Today we have an awesome guest, Megan Collier, another one of the courses that I have taken, basically, and kind of the OG in the UGC space. If you're on TikTok, there's more than likely a chance that you have seen her, and we're going to kind of get into her story. Megan, thanks so much for being on.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, this is exciting. So like I said, I got into your course, and I like to call it a community because I feel like you're, out of all the communities that I've seen, like yours, I feel like is the biggest. Like, talk a little bit about first before we get into your background. Like, your community is how many people strong these days? Like a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I have taught in my course about 6,700-ish people. But inside the Facebook group, which is, again, yeah, it's been so fun. But yeah, I have a Facebook group with, I think, 3,600 or so people in there, which has been probably like the best decision ever, because I feel like that's kind of the thing that's missing for a lot of people that start something like UGC. So it's been fun to keep up with people and see what they're doing, and it's been also fun just to have so many people of all backgrounds and ages. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you, first of all, a little I guess confession. The only reason I even still have Facebook is for your group.
Oh my gosh,
I don't use it for anything else except for that. Oh, actually, that's a lie. Facebook Marketplace. I do use it for that too.
Well, of course.
But yeah, I've loved how, and we'll kind of get into this later about like the details of the community and stuff, but I've loved how like it's people helping people, which is I think why I really kind of resonate to this space. It's like not everybody's out for them and like trying to like what's in it for me, but people pose questions and they throw examples out there and all sorts of stuff. So we'll kind of visit that a little bit later. What I want to start with, I feel like this is something that I get asked a lot, so I can only imagine how many times you get asked this, but like, how did you even get into UGC? I know you were, working in marketing before you decide to go full time. Tell that story a little bit for me.
Yeah, for sure. I was working for a medical device company, doing some social media stuff for them, kind of like a random, had to get a 9-to-5 job. And so I was doing that. Our son was 1 at the time, and I was kind of in this position where I needed to make more money. I live here in the Seattle area with my family. It's expensive. So I tried so many side hustles in the past, literally dozens of side hustles, started a bunch of things, failed at so many things. And one day I was scrolling on TikTok like all of us do usually, and I saw Salha, which probably a lot of people in the community UGC space know Salha. She's a friend of mine now, but she was describing UGC and kind of what it meant to be a UGC creator. And I had kind of taught myself social media stuff up until that point, and that's kind of how I got that job, but I'd never heard of UGC. And so when she was explaining it, I was like, this is so weird. I just figured companies were only working with influencers, and I didn't know UGC was even a thing. So I saw it, looked into it a little bit more, and the more I looked into it, the more it made sense, and the more I got excited about it. And I always tell everybody, like, I just like had this weird feeling about UGC in the best way possible. Like, I made sense. I felt like I could do it. If other people were doing it, I could figure it out. And I just was really, really excited about it. And so I got started almost immediately and created my portfolio. I remember being at the, I had to get my oil changed, and I had just started UGC, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for my video examples. And I saw the pet store that we go to while I was getting my oil changed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I could do a whole video about the cat treats that I give our 2 cats. And so that's how I started. I just made that video, made another one, made a couple more about toys that we had gotten our son, and it just kind of started in that very random, organic way, and it's just changed everything. So yeah.
So walk me through, you create your portfolio, walk me through your first deal. Obviously you probably reached out to a lot of companies that never responded, but the first one that responded, how did you get a hold of them? You don't have to mention the actual company name if you don't want to, but.
So I 100% reached out to dozens of companies, but about day 10ish, so like a week and a half into my UGC journey, I had emailed the Captions app. So it was my first client. I emailed them because I can't remember if I had downloaded the app before. I'm pretty sure I had, and then I was like, oh, okay, like maybe apps are doing UGC. I'll just email them. And so I emailed them, and like within an hour or two he got back to me, and it was very basic email. Like, I think I've posted the email before. I think I had a couple spelling errors in there. It was not professional. I'm like, hey, I'm a UGC creator. I know about your app. It looks awesome. Would love to create UGC. And he's like, fantastic. Let's hop on a call tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay.
You're like, really?
So,
Are you sure?
yeah. I'm like, oh my God, okay, this could be happening. And so I was, it was in the middle of the day. I was still working my 9 to 5, and luckily I worked remotely. And so I kind of just like had Microsoft Teams off to the side and stayed active while I hopped on this Zoom call with the company. And the guy was just, I was like, my heart was racing out of my chest. And I was so nervous because I just so badly wanted them to say yes. And I feel like so many like new UGC creators can relate to that, because
100%.
you just like, you hear about UGC, you're like, oh my gosh, is this way too good to be true? And then you get your first deal and it's like, holy crap, this is incredible. And so, he ended up saying yes to me. It was a very chill call. And they actually hired me for 3 videos that they were going to run as ads, but it was going to be like $500 or something. I'm like, gosh, I want to make a little bit more than that. And so I ended up just making a couple extra for them. Because I saw somebody talking about that on TikTok, how they made more
like go above and beyond and then say you can have it after.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't even tell them. I just did it. And then because I had so many ideas, and they actually, I think it's important to say that this doesn't always happen, especially not your first UGC deal, but they had no direction for me. Like, I asked them, do you have a script? Do you have any talking point? He's like, nope, just go for it. We trust you. And I'm like, okay. And luckily I'd been playing around with the app, so I knew about it and I knew how to use it and everything. So, but it was really a great starting point, just because it kind of pushed me to get creative. They ended up loving the videos. I did 5 for them. He bought the extra 2 and just went from there.
Just crazy from there.
Yeah.
Do you still have that first video?
I probably do.
You need to throw that on your TikTok. I would love to see it.
I should.
Just to see like how far you've come. That was like 3 years ago, you said?
2.5 years ago.
Yeah. It would be like super interesting to see the difference. I mean, even me, I've been doing it shorter than that, just hit my year mark a week ago.
Awesome.
And my content has gotten 1,000 times better. And then I think I'm making good content, and then I go to like events, like I was telling you, I went last weekend, and I'm like, oh, I am not making great content. These people make way better content, right? So there's always that comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
That's super interesting. So when you first reached out, and they responded, like, did you have any idea of like how to, like, when you're talking about they didn't give you any direction, how did you end up just like scripting it yourself? Did you use AI? Was that as big as it is now? Like, how did you do it? You just threw it together on your own?
No, I don't even think ChatGPT was a thing then. But no, I kind of just, I can't even remember now. But it wasn't super hard for me. And the big reason I think was because I knew about the app. Like, if it had been a brand new, like, random company I'd never heard of, I did some research on them before, went through the app before I hopped on the call, just so I was prepared. So that helped a lot. And I had pressure because it was my first one, right? But I also was like, I think as long as I create, some decent, like, I say something that's helpful, because it really was just explaining the app. So I did a lot of like screen recording, green screen, me explaining how to use the app, which I guess was the only direction he gave me. Like, maybe you could do that. It wasn't super hard. And the more I did, like the first one, I was like, okay, I got to get over this creative hump. And then it just started coming more natural. Yeah,
that's a good point. Like, I think, probably, especially for listeners that are new to UGC, like if you're either building your portfolio or reaching out to a company, like probably reach out to those products you use first before you decide to reach out to company ABC that you don't even use their product, right? Because it's going to be very apparent to them that you don't know what you're talking about.
100%. I think it's also gold for companies when they get an actual customer who can speak so authentically. That's like been some of my best UGC deals have been from pitching to companies that I'm already obsessed with.
That you already love. Yeah. That's kind of how I've done most of like 90% of my jobs through Fiverr where I don't really have a choice. I kind of just take, I mean, obviously I can say no, but you kind of take whatever you're given. I just have recently started reaching out to companies like directly, and I've only reached out to companies like I really like, you know, and it's like more fun. If you're making a product, if you're making a video for stuff that you actually like, it makes the whole process of making the video way more fun, at least to me, right?
100%.
I want to go back to something you said because this is very timely. So you said like when you first did it, you're like, well, this doesn't feel real. This is too good to be true. I've had that same comment from so many people that I've like helped get in. I mean, people see you in ads like, what are you doing? I thought you worked at this company, right? And for me, it's like, I'm where you were 2.5 years ago, where like, this is still a side gig for me, very much like I still have a full-time gig. And then this is my kind of side hustle. Mm-hmm. Like it's funny because when you first get paid, like even like up to the point of like getting paid, like I turned it in, I'm like, wait, am I actually going to get paid for this? Like you're still so hesitant, like so it sounds so almost like suspect, right? Like it sounds sketchy, like to the point of literally yesterday I was on TikTok live talking about Fiverr, right? And like UGC and like how I got into it, and I literally got reported for scam and I got banned. Like my live got banned, and I'm like, can't do live for 3 days because people are so, they think it's too good to be true. Like multiple people said in the comments, like, oh, this doesn't seem real. Wow. And I'm like, you guys, this is like marketing 101. This, you're making videos, you're making content for brands that they turn around and they use that ad to make way more money than they paid you. Like, or else it wouldn't make sense for them, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's just interesting. The market is growing, and you've probably seen that with your course and with your community. Like it's only getting crazier and crazier in demand. So once you first started, how long did you do it before you're like, hey, I'm taking the leap and I'm gonna go full time on this?
Oh gosh, it took a while.
Yeah.
My initial goal was just $1,000 a month, and I quickly realized that was doable, and I was hitting that like almost I think my first month I hit that. And so and then like a few months, 2 or 3 months into UGC, and I was doing it part-time, reach out to companies. My wife got laid off from her job super randomly, and so all of a sudden we were in this position where, oh gosh, we're going to lose out on, this chunk of money every month. And I'm like, gosh, could I like make up her income with UGC deals? Yeah. And so I'm like, I think I could, and it would be fantastic and like the biggest blessing for her to stay home full time with our son. And so that's what I did. I just like went crazy and started pitching to more brands, getting more UGC deals. And that's what happened. And so beyond that, after that, I'm like, okay, companies are hiring me, and I was doing mostly, a lot of ad videos. So most companies that hired me, especially in the beginning, was a ton of ad videos that kind of seemed to be my specialty. And so then a few months.
Sorry, real stop.
Yeah.
When you say ad video, how does that differ from like the traditional UGC? You're talking about just like testimonial?
No, well, so all for just paid media. So in terms of, so instead of, it'll make more sense in a second, because I was doing ad videos, like just short videos promoting, like with the goal of selling more products. And then the opportunity came up to do a bunch of organic videos, like basically do all of the Instagram videos for this like celebrity couples luxury home product brand. And it was going to be a monthly retainer client. I knew it was like 20 plus videos a month, and I was like, that's so much work. I was very hesitant. And I'm like, gosh, but they were offering me $3,000 a month. And I'm like, that's really great. I could use $3,000 a month. And so I did it, and I'm so glad I did, because that kind of just getting that consistent chunk of money from that retainer client was so huge. Not only like the money, but just realizing that, okay, $3,000. Okay, maybe another company will pay me $3,000. And the work itself got easier over time, which I think a
Yeah.
lot of people will realize if they do take on retainer clients, especially, is that you get like maybe at the beginning it's figuring out, okay, when am I gonna shoot these videos? How am I gonna deliver them? And luckily with that company, I had total creative freedom, so I could kind of like do whatever I want with the videos, which made it easier. But I just worked it out. Like even working full time, our son, having a toddler and everything, it's like
Yeah.
wake up early in the morning, do it before work, maybe work a little bit on the weekends, batch create content, and I just made it work. And that really truly taking on that first monthly retainer client changed everything, just because it opened up my eyes to other opportunities and being willing to say yes, because then that is really what allowed me to quit my job like 14 months into my UGC journey.
Do you ever think of like what would have happened if I would have said no to that
Yeah,
first
I
one?
do. Yeah, I mean, I probably would
You'd
have
still be
been.
slinging medical devices.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you're always thinking about that, especially in the freelance world where you just think, gosh, I see so many people quitting their jobs doing this, and everyone. That's another thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about is like, yes, I quit my job and I had to reach a certain income every single month to be able to comfortably, not quite
Yeah.
comfortably, but comfortably quit my job and be okay. But everyone's financial situation is different. If I was doing UGC in my 20s, no kids, single, didn't have that many bills, I would have been able to quit my job like within a few months, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone has a different thing. And I teach a lot of, as Gen Xers, baby boomers, people that are planning for retirement who are like, I just want to make a couple grand a month doing UGC. And it's very, very possible.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah. If you didn't have the financial responsibilities, I see people all the time on like Instagram and stuff that are like, I live in Bali and I do UGC. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a different
Yeah, for sure.
cost of living for sure. It's funny you say one of the things you said. I want to kind of talk about when you're talking about like it's definitely stuff you don't talk about is you do get better, like way better over time. I told the story a couple days ago about my buddy Jake, who kind of like almost the same situation as you, where like necessity pushed him into like, this has to work. Like I need this to work or else. So like, it's different than like, if it's your side thing, you're like, okay, I'll reach out. Oh, I'm too tired to reach out to brands. Like, no, you got to reach out to brands tonight. Like you have to make money this month. Right. And I remember after we created his first video that took like forever, cause I was pretty hardcore on like telling him like how to like, no, change that. He was like exhausted, and he's like, dude, I don't think I can do this. Like, this sucks. Like, I don't like, this was way harder than I thought. And I'm like, well, dude, no one's going to be as hard as I just was on you for your first initial audition video, for your portfolio. And B, it gets easier. And like, it's been 10 days and he's like a wizard at CapCut and things now, like, right. And he's gotten 13 gigs through Reddit or X or direct reach out and things like that. So like, it gets easier. I know it's frustrating. It's like anything else. Especially like, if you're on CapCut and you've never used it, or Captions or whatever the app is, InShot, take your pick. It's going to get easier, and you're going to get better at reading briefs, at reading scripts, you're going to get better at doing the teleprompter without messing up every other word and things like that. So I think people need to remember that too, like have some grace on yourself or give yourself some grace, because it's not easy to learn it. And yes, it gets easier, but it's not as easy money as I guess what people make it seem,
Yeah. That's everything you said is 1000% exactly how I feel. Cause that's really what most people, the reason why most people don't start UGC is because they think they suck at it, which they very may well suck at the beginning.
Yeah,
And that's
we all
totally
suck.
okay. We all suck
Yeah.
at the beginning, right? And I always tell a story, like I was like playing around with video editing, social media stuff for a while. So it was easier for me because the learning curve wasn't really there. So it was quicker. But the first video I remember, this is several years ago, but trying to edit a video, like a 15-second video of me literally just making my morning coffee, which by the way was in a Keurig, took me like 2 hours to do. And I'm like, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I just pushed through it and I just kept, trying, because it really does get easier. And that's what I think it's so important for people to put it into perspective, because we have all done things that we suck at in the beginning. And there's no reason why UGC should be different and that should be the reason to stop you. If you've done a job like all my past jobs, the first day I looked like an idiot probably because I didn't know what I was doing. So it's just important to push through that and know that you will get better. The only way to fail at UGC is if you quit. So it's important to remember that for people just starting out.
I love that. Yeah, I think if you're like listed on a platform like whether it be Brands Meet Creators or Incense or Fiverr or whatever it is, and you're not getting jobs, it's because you're not doing it's not because they don't like you, it's just because you're not like trying hard enough, right? You're not tweaking your wording, you're not doing whatever. Like it's really, 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 really hard. You have to actively try to like not respond to people to not get hired in UGC. I also think like the one of the points you brought up is of like it's okay to suck at something right away. I think that may be part of the reason why Gen X or whatever boomers are good at this, because they don't care. I think with a certain amount of age, like I don't know how, I'm 37. Dude, you cannot offend me. I grew up with 7 brothers. Like you could not make me feel stupid if you tried. Yeah. And I don't like care that I was really sucky when I started this. And I still am not, like I said, last weekend, I'm like, oh, I'm actually still not good at this, but I might get better. Right. Like, I think it comes with a level of like, just having experience and like knowing that like who cares what people think, which is probably why like some of the younger creators I've met are like super worried, like what if someone sees this and they're like 20, 21-year-olds. I'm like, who cares? What are they gonna do? Yeah, just tell them you got paid for it. Like like who cares? You know, I don't come to your place of work and make fun of what you're doing. Like, you know?
We all need to make money, right?
Like who cares?
That you're so right though. It really is a big thing to remember, especially. It should be at the forefront. Even if people have to write it down, like put it on a sticky note on your mirror when you're getting ready in the morning. You may suck in the beginning, but that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And it should be expected. And companies, especially when you first start, you're gonna have prices that aren't reflective that are reflective of your level, right? You're not gonna start at like, hey, I'm $1,000 for one video when you've never done a video. Like start low and then eventually when you're, you know, you'll kind of have imposter syndrome for a while. That's what I will say that, because I definitely did, where you're like, am I good at this? You know? And after like 30 people hiring me, I'm like, maybe I'm okay at this, you know? And like, maybe my videos are decent. And I think everybody goes through that phase where they're like, almost like denial, where like, hey, you can be good at this, you know? Talk about, I want to talk about a couple things. And then I also kind of want to dive into some lessons you've learned along the way and then dive more into your community. But I want to start a segment called UGC, about the worst product that you've had to promote. You don't have to like drop their name and roast them or anything, but either like embarrassing or like what's a product that you agreed to and after you got it, you're like, oh, I can't believe I just did that video. Is there anything like that? Or a product that you're like, this is the worst product, I can't believe I just promoted that?
I honestly don't think there's nothing coming to mind. However, I will kind of flip it to like the worst. A brand I had to stop working with, and I won't say the name, but a beverage company that was making me or wanting me to do these insane claims, like medical claims, and like, you know, oh, I've been to the doctor for this and like everything, and like, and granted, they had no contract with me, and so which was partly on my doing, but those kind of companies, like that company in particular, I always think about them because I was doing like monthly work for them, so it was bringing in some money, but I kind of had to be like, holy crap, like do I really want to say these things? Like this is ridiculous. And so I ended up just saying like, you know what, this is not working. I like their products are okay, but they
didn't cure like every element that they said they did, basically.
It just wasn't cool, and a lot of people will probably run into that in the UGC space. You kind of have to figure out if you think you're an actor, if you think that you should be, you know, making claims or whatever. So it really just depends on the brand and the contract, but something to be aware of.
Yeah, everybody has their line, I guess. Like there's obviously a bunch of industries that like I don't work with, and Fiverr doesn't even let you because I do most of my stuff through Fiverr. But like even like financial advice and things like that. Like I try not to. I had one company that's like, hey, will you stand in front of your house and then say that you bought this house with your winnings from this gambling app? I'm like, no, because I would just imagine some poor guy, like some gambling addict that's like watches the ad and drops his last $500 on this app and then just ruins his life. You know, I'm like, I don't want to do that. That seems so sketchy. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely promoted like to your point where you're like, you just have to get in your head that, hey, you're a paid actor, right? You don't have to say anything crazy, but like I had someone literally message me today. It was like, you don't have a dog? I just saw you in an ad with a dog, you know? I'm like, hey, Paid actor.
I was
They put
that
that
day. I
in.
did have a
They
job
put,
that day.
yeah, they put that in. Like I just said what they told me to say.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you're not. I don't think there's anything wrong with sticking to a script if you don't use a product or anything like that.
yeah,
Again, in my head, I'm a paid actor. There's certain things I won't do. Financial, gambling.
yeah,
I steer clear of crypto. Anything that has to do with like ruining people's lives. I feel like, or like to your point, medical claims that are like
yeah,
for sure not true. That you're like, I don't know
yeah.
about this one.
Yeah, especially if you don't know that they're, there's like on the commercials, it's like this is a paid actor on TV, but
Yeah,
you don't know what this company's doing
yeah,
when they go to run it as an ad on social media. So just
yeah.
something to be aware of.
Yeah, you've never seen the little asterisk at the bottom that says like this is a paid actor because they don't
Yeah,
do that on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So
exactly.
good point. So on the flip side, what's the coolest product that you've worked with, or coolest, or like most proud of? Maybe it's your first. I don't know whatever. Take
Um,
your pick.
I would say like my favorite brand and the one I'm most proud of is Kuru footwear. I've done several videos for them, and the reason, I mean, beyond just like I'm a loyal customer, I can only wear their shoes because of my foot pain. They're a pretty large company. They do millions a year in sales, and I am the first ever UGC creator that they've hired.
Wow.
And so that was a really, really big thing for me because I actually pitched them. This is like, I think January, like a few months into my UGC journey, and they were like, no, but we can send you like a pair of shoes. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so a year later, I was like, you know what? No, I need to land this UGC deal. Like this is the one I'm manifesting. And so I reached out to them again, and this time I sent them like a 8-minute video using Loom, just being like, hey, this is why I think you guys should at least talk to me about hiring me for UGC. This is all the reasons. And their marketing team all watched it and loved it so much. And then they were like, yes, let's hop on a call. So I hopped on a call with like 4 of their marketing executives. And then they were like, yes, we want to hire you. And I'm like, okay. And they actually, at the beginning of that call, this is an important lesson for people because at that call, like I thought, okay, I kind of have this in the bag. They love the video. I'm sure I could convince them. Even like halfway through the call, they were only going to give me shoes in exchange for content. And they weren't even
Gifted
going to pay me.
collabs.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm
No way.
like, you know what? And I told them just straight up because I was just feeling confident. I didn't need the deal. I just wanted it. So I'm like, I've already done that for you guys. And you've actually seen the stats on that video. A lot of people actually are buying your stuff because of that organic video I did. So again, XYZ, this is why you should hire me. And then they're like, okay, let's do it. So it was kind of a cool thing. And now they are actually working with a lot of UGC creators because they had a good experience with me. So that's probably the most proud UGC deal I have.
Yeah, big company. You open the doors, and you had to go back twice. Was it the same person when you reached back the second time?
I think it was probably
Like a
I think it was a
generic
different
email or
person.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson though. Like if that doesn't work, wait a year, go back again,
Yep.
try it out again. I mean, there's a lot of lessons in that. That's super interesting. It's also funny that they thought a gifted collab was like the thing, like, oh,
Yeah.
like she'll really want a gifted collab. You're like, okay, I don't need
Yeah.
a pair of shoes. Like I get to
Yeah.
buy my pair of shoes, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to talk about your course because you talk about one of the things you mentioned is sending video pitches, which is like when I watched that part of your course, I'm like, okay, that's actually an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that. I've used Loom. I use Loom in my Fiverr course. Like freaking love it. Super easy. Very easy to embed in an email. Why? What? Was that the first? Was that the first video you pitched? Was to Kuru? Or had you already been doing it for a while? And what prompted you to try that the first time?
Well, actually, I will tell you that I sent a Loom video when I was a few months into my UGC journey. I actually got a new job that was paying me a lot more. And the way I landed that job was sending them a Loom video. I saw their ad on Craigslist of all places. Didn't even know people had Craigslist or used it still. But I was like, I was just going to send them a video introducing myself. And they got back to me and they're like, holy crap. Yeah, we basically want to hire you because of this video. And I'm like, fantastic. So I got the job. And then when I started, getting more into UGC, I'm like, oh, I should just do this for UGC. Like, I don't think anybody's doing this, or if they are, it's probably pretty rare. So I think it maybe was the first Loom video I sent was. No, actually, no, it wasn't. I sent a few before because it was a year later after I landed that. But yeah, I kind of just realized, and you learn so much, obviously, as a UGC creator, beyond just like creating short videos. You learn so much about communication, how to convince people, how to negotiate with these companies, and how to stand out. Because there are a lot of UGC creators, and maybe companies are receiving, dozens of emails or DMs per day from UGC creators that want to create UGC for them. So you really just have to think, how in the world am I going to stand out amongst all these other people? And that's really one way to do it. And most people aren't going to take the time because they're worried about, oh, well, what if I don't look good? What if I don't say the right thing in these videos? But companies recognize your effort. So if you're just going to copy and paste your typical email pitch, which not to say it can't work, doing the extra thing, going the extra, like literally taking 5 minutes to record a video and sending to a company via email is going to make the world of a difference. And it's not going to mean that it's 100% yes from them, but they're going to think about you, and they're going to put your email probably in a saved folder so that when they are ready, they'll reach back out to you.
Well, what I like about it too is the way that you, at least in the course, it talks like you gave an example, a screenshot or screen share of this. Like, it's not a link because like those get spam filtered like crazy.
Yeah.
They see your face immediately. Yeah. Right. So it's not like dropping a link. They're not going to hit it. They see your face immediately. It's embedded into the email, so you can click play right from there. And then it's just good. Like, you're literally getting your face out there immediately. And to your point, so many people, I mean, I literally saw on Reddit this morning, people selling, I've got a list of 300 company contacts. Like, I'm selling in this list. And there's probably so many people that have all that on automation, right, through different CRMs, and they're just blasting 500 companies a day and getting 3 jobs, which is like, great. If you're doing that, that's killer. Kudos to you. But for the other 497 that don't get open, it's because these companies are getting blasted. So it definitely sets yourself apart from those other UGC creators.
For sure. For sure. It's not like, you can't really lose with it too, because you'll just also, like UGC, you'll get better at sending those videos. And like you said, with Loom, if somebody is listening to this and hasn't used Loom, it's very simple to use. And it is so genius because they do put your face, a little clip of it inside the email. So companies are like, oh, whoa, this isn't just text. Maybe I should click this video link and watch it. So it's very compelling.
Yeah. Yeah, LOOM for those who have not used it. I'm a big fan of them. I mean, maybe we should reach out to them for a UGC video. We'll do a collab. So going back to your course, and I know I hate when people just sling courses, but I'm gonna sling this course because your course is killer. So I like it because it talks about, I took a course, my first one, episode 1 talked about Tammy, about Fiverr specifically, right? I'm a wuss. I'm not doing outreach, too scared. I need to prove myself somewhere that's a guaranteed, someone may reach out to me. Not guaranteed, but they're coming to me. So I started on Fiverr. And I feel like a lot of people have this same journey, right? But maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. But I work a full-time job. I don't have time to do outreach. So I started with Fiverr. Tammy's course was awesome. Got me into UGC, got me a couple of my, first videos and things like that. Then when I wanted to okay, let's spread my wings a little bit. We're 9 months into this. I have done, 100 jobs. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I kept coming into your TikTok lives. I'm I need to make my portfolio. And you're you're an idiot. You have 1 million videos. You should have made this already, I'm oh, yeah, I should have, but I just never, didn't know how easy it was, right? Yeah. So then that's what prompted me of you saying, hey, get your portfolio. I'm I need to buy your course. So I bought the course. I love how, so you basically teach UGC creators how to go direct, like you're talking about, direct to people, how to create a portfolio. Portfolio, for those that are noobs on here, like we all are at some point, is literally just a website that says, I'm Nate. Here are the brands I've worked with. Here's a couple of videos of examples I've done. Here's some testimonials if you want to get fancy, right, of brands. Here's my contact info. That way, if you've ever been on Reddit under UGC creators subreddit, or X, which is another big place I get jobs, everybody just wants your portfolio. They're not going to be like, hey, email me and we'll talk. Like everyone's drop your portfolio. It's just we're in 2025. No one has time for anything but like a quick link. But I love how your course, it walks you through how to make a portfolio. I literally just did that at the same time I was watching your course, just pause, right?
Love it.
But I love how you actually teach how to do outreach instead of just like, all right, there's your portfolio. Good luck.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a long spiel to ask you, what prompted you to make the course in the first place?
So when I started UGC, I saw some other people, just sharing their UGC journeys over on TikTok. And I'm like, that sounds kind of fun. It'll probably keep me accountable. I could share like what I'm doing, what's working, basically just go crazy on oversharing what I was doing with UGC. And so that's what I did. So I started sharing who I was working with, what I was doing, what I was learning, how I built my portfolio. And then I think I had one video go viral that was like, I'm landing deals without being an influencer or whatever. And it went viral and everyone was like, what? How?
Teach me.
Teach me. Like thousands and thousands of comments. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, there's still people that don't know about UGC. And so I was like, I love teaching. Like I've taught, other things before. Like I taught English in Thailand for a little bit.
That's right.
Sunday school. I was gonna, go be a preschool teacher and all this stuff, which is like way better. But I just started teaching. I'm like, okay, I could create a course. And the course has evolved so much. And I kind of redid the whole thing this time last year. But yeah, it's just been so fun. And I think that my goal really with teaching people is that I want to break it down in a way that anybody can understand. People that have zero background in marketing and social media, never posted a video in their life. I want people to, number one, understand what UGC is in a very, very simple way, and then not be afraid to pursue it. It's like I'm so passionate about that just because I've seen so many people who get so excited about UGC, and then in their mind, they're just telling themselves they can't figure it out due to whatever, their age, their background, whatever. And I think there's so much missed opportunity for people. And so it's just been really fun to see that exact same thing come to fruition through my course, and not just my course, like just, as you know, I go live all the time on TikTok.
Yeah. No, you inspired me. I'm 3 days in a row now, and now I got a 3-day jail sentence, but
Oh yeah.
I'll go after
I'm excited
that.
for
But it's super scary, by the way. But
yeah, no, it really is.
And it's like super chill doing this. So I guess I'll just start talking to myself.
It's like UGC too, though. Like you'll see with the lives too, and it's the way I approach anything now with TikTok or going live or like any of my content is just people want to connect and people want also to be helped. Like, what value are you bringing people? And that's really like what anything comes down to. And like with TikTok, I was freaking scared out of my mind going live the first time. And now it's just been so fun. I was on a podcast a few days ago because somebody saw me on a TikTok live. So even more doors can open if you're just willing to put yourself out there like you do with UGC. Yeah.
And I think the one thing you said that's super relevant is a lot of people, I've heard this said to me as well, as like, well, I'm not like, someone said it on one of my videos yesterday. It's like, well, is that person a model? Are they super charismatic? I'm like, dude, your age, your sex, your gender, your race, like that's like all like in the UGC world, we call those USPs, right? Like that's your unique selling point. Yeah. People are literally like, I've seen briefs. I mean, next time you get a brief, if you're in UGC, if you're new to this, the next brief you look at either the very top of this or the very bottom of this, and it has what they want the creator to look like. Like more than likely they didn't pick you because you're some amazing speaker. It's because you're a bald, bearded, middle-aged white guy, or whatever it is. Like take your pick, right? Or like whatever it is. And so I talked about that at the conference with a bunch of people. I met a guy there whose name is Chandler. He's an awesome dude. He's actually moving here to Utah. They're just getting into UGC. He's 50. He's like,
Awesome.
yeah, I just don't know I'm 50. I'm like, dude, I would kill to be 50 right now in this space. Like, are you kidding me? You know how many videos I've had to say I'm 50 and I'm 37?
I know.
I'm like, so you got to take whatever you think is like you're not, whatever you think is like you're not, oh, I'm not desirable because of this. And that's actually why you're getting hired. Like, they
Mhm.
need people of all shapes and sizes, and like they don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's so true, and that's why I've been so after, and I've told the story a million times, but doing that first UGC deal with Kuru, one of those videos my mom was in, and she's 63, and
Yeah.
that's when they told me, that's when this whole light bulb went off, that brands are looking for people that are a little older because there's not that many of you guys. So that really was when it all kind of hit me, like a month or two after I did that deal with my mom, and I started telling people about this. I'm like, you guys could be doing this. Like, brands are looking for you. They want to work with you. They want to get their products in more hands of Gen Xers and Boomers. And I just think that so many people don't just still also don't know about UGC. So it's been really fun to enlighten people about UGC.
Well, your community has like a ton of older people in it,
So
which is
many.
killer. I love it. I love seeing people's videos like, hey, this is my first one, be nice, and it's some like 65-year-old
Yeah.
lady like with a,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks later she's posting, oh, I just made $1,000 this week from a brand. I'm like, dude, hell yeah, that's so
I
awesome.
know. It's
Like,
really,
it's
really
so
awesome.
cool to see that. So
Hmm.
the other thing I wanted to just make a point of saying, because I know I was one of those people that was like, oh, cool, another course. Like, these people are just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
The reason and now that I've made a course, I feel so bad for even thinking that, because the reason that people like, I'm not even close to how many people you've helped, but you or me, we do courses is because we don't have the physical hours in the day to help as many people as come to us through Instagram, TikTok, real life. Like, people that I know in real life, not even through the internet. I've helped probably 50 of them at this point.
Wow.
Lunches, dinners, breakfasts,
Hmm.
over a laptop, trying to help them do this. And I love all those people, and some of them are probably listening to this, and they're all killing it. But like, at some point, I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day.
No.
How do I make this more logistically feasible? Okay, I'm going to make a course. And
100%.
then, it's bad now. I still like might give too many promo codes probably for people I felt bad. I'm like, oh, here, just like take the course. Like, I don't want to, like, I won't charge you for it. I need to be better at that because I put like a stupid amount of effort into it. As you know, yours probably took forever too. But like, it's not because we're trying to like just sling another like revenue stream.
Yeah.
We are just literally too busy to explain every little thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think your course is like, 8 to 10 hours of content.
Probably. Yeah.
Imagine spending 10 hours with every single person in your DMs right now who's asked you about UGC. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
you'd be working for the next 400 years.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible.
Exactly. No, that you're 100% right. And, it also, I buy so many courses. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars just in online courses from random people. And it's such a great way to learn. Like, I could go live for 10 hours a day and I still couldn't teach you everything inside my course. There's so many UGC courses, so many amazing people that teach UGC that everyone could benefit from. But it's just like figuring out, okay, do I want to spend, 50 plus hours researching YouTube,
Yeah.
looking at what everyone else is doing, piecing together little information, or do I just want somebody to tell me, hey, do this next, and then do this, and
Yeah.
have a step-by-step system? That's personally what I love about, and that's why I have a video course, instead of like a guide
Super
or
visual.
PDF
Super
or
visual. Yeah.
ebook. Yeah, it's so visual because UGC is visual. And not to say that that's bad to invest in any of those, but it's such a visual thing. And I think so many people, I would like guess that most people are visual learners. So having something, whether it's my course, your course, whoever, having something to just reference as you're getting started so you can get it going and start making
Yeah.
money is key, I feel like.
Yeah, and you spend money on it, so then you're
Yeah.
incentivized to actually open it, right?
Yes.
If you're gonna get, like, how many free PDFs have I downloaded from
yeah.
people's links in bio?
Exactly.
I have one too, right? Like, here's
Yeah.
50 hooks or whatever. And so yeah, I've done the same thing. I've bought many courses. I saw a meme the other day with Kendrick Lamar holding all of his Grammys, and it says me and all the courses, all the UGC courses I've bought this year.
I love
Too
that.
funny. So, All right. Last question for you, and then I'll let you go, Megan, is what advice do you have for people just getting started? And like, if let's say 3 pieces of advice, like max, you don't have to do 3, but like, I mean, there's probably a ton, but if you're just getting started and you're a new listener to the podcast, you're basically talking to the master guru here with Megan on UGC. Like, what is your best piece of advice?
Yeah, I'll say a few. So number one, if you do have any inkling to get started with UGC, but you've been on the fence, you've dipped your toes in, but you've just like been scared, I just want to encourage you to just do it, to just go after it. You cannot lose with UGC if you put in the time and effort, because you will learn so much more than just creating short little videos for companies. You will expand so many skills that you never even thought possible, didn't even know existed. You will also just increase your value in the marketplace just as a human being that works. So if you do want to go get a fancier, higher paying 9-to-5 job in the future, UGC will literally help you with that. So if you've been hesitating, go for it. That's the number one thing. Number two is, know your worth. I think that a lot of people I've seen over the last 2.5 years, people start UGC and they're very excited about it. They do a few like really low paying or even gifted collaborations, and they get used to that and they think, okay, this company paid me $50 for a 60-second video. I should do another one because I could use another $50. And they get in this trap, in this cycle of only low paying gigs, and then their worth in their head goes a little bit lower or stays stagnant, and then they end up not making that much money, can't pay their bills with UGC, and then they quit. So that's like the opposite of what you should be doing. Sure, do a couple of those maybe, but set a limit just so you know that you can get paid more, and the better you get, the more you should increase your rates, and your income should be steadily growing as a UGC creator. So know your worth. And I don't know, I just think that, I think it's also, I wish I had started like my content creation journey before. I think that so many people, a year from now, and it sounds cliche, but a year from now, you could literally be living a different life. And I think it's important for people to understand that, because the fact that I could replace a 6-figure income with only UGC deals is something that I did not know was possible before until I started and my eyes were open to it. And I was just willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the work. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You're not going to love every single brand you work with. But if you put in the time, the effort, you truly could be living a different life like 1 year from now, or even less. But yeah, I think it's important to remember that.
Love it. Love all that advice. Yeah, even the part about like knowing your worth. I wish I would have had someone like you telling me what to price at early on, because I was that guy, right? Yeah. And then like my buddy who I just helped 10 days ago, I'm like, hey, you set your first rate here instead, like double what I did. And he started getting jobs. I'm like, oh, dang it. I missed out on all that money because I didn't know. I didn't have like someone to tell me what to do, you know? So awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate you, Megan. I know you're crazy busy, so I appreciate you taking the time out to chat. I hope if you're listening to this that you got some good nuggets of, either inspiration to start your UGC journey, or if you're already a creator, like some things that you can implement in getting even more business and growing your business. So I really appreciate it. Megan, for the listeners, if you're not already subscribed, we're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all the podcast platforms. Go ahead and go in there. If you like the episode, please review it. It helps spread the word to other UGC creators. Share this with your UGC friends. Megan, really appreciate it. I will drop your TikTok link and the link in the description, but what is your TikTok real fast for those that don't already follow you? Yeah, I'm just at Megan_UGC on TikTok and Instagram. Same, Megan_UGC, MEGAN_UGC. And then I will have a link to the course in the description of the course, in the description of the episode. If you want to see what that's all about, what all the raves about, I've been chatting about. So really appreciate it, Megan. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you guys for listening.